All praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High, Yahweh, Barasham, Yahweh Barasham, Raka Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Kiam. And this is your brother Abawan back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Barasham Yahweh Barasham Raka Kwadash. This is what we mean when we talk about the wine of Babylon the Great. Alright, this is what we mean. And this is a report, right? It's actually a written report of a video, and the video was Senator John Kennedy, right, that was announcing the discoveries that DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, made when they audited US aid to see where and in which direction and which places all the money that US aid was, paying out to other countries were going to. Right, so they found out that a majority of the US aid was going into expanding and promoting alternative lifestyle LGBT causes all over the world, right? And let's just read a little bit of it before I go in and say anything else, right? This is going to be a quick video. The American taxpayers are giving money to Afghan. Okay, let me start from the top. And this is Wall Street Apes on Twitter. Ready to have your mind blown. Senator John Kennedy on Elon Musk and Doge exposing US aid. I'll tell you what Mr. Musk discovered. I find it fascinating. He discovered the American taxpayers are giving money to Afghanistan. He found that we are giving money to Yemen. He found that we are giving money to Syria. He found that the US aid has 10,000 people, employees, and every year they give away 40 billion. He found that the US aid gave money to support electric vehicles in Vietnam, our money, taxpayer money. He found that the US aid gave money to a transgender clinic in India. I didn't know that. I bet you the American people didn't know that. And I actually, did some Googling on this one right here, and I found out that, what is actually there is just it's US aid joining up with I think it's John Hopkins University in India. Let me go and show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Right, and it's actually let's do that. Right, because a lot of the LGBT causes, I actually looked into them to see if they're actually true. Right, the alternative lifestyle causes, I looked into them to see if they're actually true, and this is the only one that actually looked into properly. So I just decided to just do this video because a lot of these I can either confirm or deny whether they are actually true or not, because I'm seeing conflicting reports of how, oh well, that didn't really happen, but this one, and I'm trying to figure out why I can't open it. All right, this is what I'm looking for. US aid and John Hopkins University celebrates the success of India's first transgender clinic. Okay, and the thing is that I didn't actually get the name of the actual clinic, but that's not the point. Okay, the point being is that this is an actual thing that is going on, where you have Esau Edom, right, the America Babylon the Great, pushing their ideology all over the world. This is what we're talking about when we say that the nations have drunk of the wine of Babylon the Great, because you see the dealings that the US is making behind the scenes with all these different nations. And the reason why I say behind the scenes, even though you can just quickly Google to confirm a lot of these points right here, the reason I'm saying behind the scenes is because it's not being pushed on the mainstream media, and it's just being hidden in obscure articles that are written, right? But let's continue reading. He found that US aid gave 1.5 million to a Serbian LGBTQ group. They got 1.5 million to quote advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. They found that US aid spent 164 million to support radical organizations around the world. They gave 122 million of that to groups aligned with foreign terrorist organizations. According to this report in Mr. Musk's, the US aid has given millions of dollars to quote organizations in Gaza controlled by Hamas. he found that we gave 2 million US aid for sex changes in Guatemala, and it just goes on like that. Either you are giving money to these alternative lifestyle organizations, or you are giving money to activities, or you are giving money to um terrorist groups, right, in within America, within the Middle East and various other nations. And really, while I was reading through this list, all I just kept thinking about was, yeah, Esau is pushing his agenda all over the earth. America, the one of Babylon the Great, and this is how it is being spread all over the earth, whether it's in the form of these alternative lifestyle groups, or quite possibly, right, me speaking as a man, not anything that you can actually quote me on, right, like that, but me speaking as a man, CIA backed organizations in the Middle East, quote unquote terrorist organizations, right? Because you know that a lot of the time, a lot of these organizations that are running in the Middle East right now are actually backed and controlled by Esau Edom, right? And I'm not going to mention any names because we're on YouTube right now. So yeah, what you are mainly seeing is, okay, either the alternative lifestyles, the ways of Babylon the Great are being pushed all over the earth. And this is exactly what the men of the Lord, right, starting from the elder apostles on down, have been saying. And we say the nations have drunk of the wine of our fornication. The nations have drunk of, and the scripture, well, of course, it's mainly from the scriptures, right? And the nations have drunk of the wine of our fornication. Let's get that. And here it is. So this is the book of Revelation 18 verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Right, because America, Babylon the great, will still be destroyed. And the reason why it will be destroyed, or parts of the reason why it will be destroyed. For all nations have drunk of the wine of of the wine of the wrath of our fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Right, and you see an example of that with US aid sending so much millions of dollars in American taxpayer money to further Esau Edom's agenda all over the earth, right? Whether it's in Europe, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in even in South America as well, because there were some of them that were in South America, like for example, let's see, not that one, not that one, not that one. Not that one. Hold on, I think it's at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, and this is the actual video. Started with the USAID. And this is the actual video right here. A lot of foreign aid from America. Yeah, but let me just get the main point I'm trying to get right here. Here it is. This one right here. US aid gave 1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. They gave 1.5 million to rebuild the Cuban media ecosystem, right? So it's showing you the different places all over the world that, for the most part, because even in the video, and also on the statement, it also said there are still more examples of that, right? But just giving an example of what the money that, basically was audited from the US aid is being spent on. And what this reminds me of is the time during Joe Biden's presidency, where you had Kamala Harris going up and down in Africa trying to get the leaders of Africa to promote the LGBT alternative lifestyle agenda over here in Africa. And this is most likely the reason why, so that America, Babylon the Great, could use that opportunity to push their doctrine, their philosophy, right, of the wickedness of itself to all the different to various countries, right, through the form of, because what this basically is, and they are bribes, okay. These are bribes, okay, using millions of dollars in order to promote miscellaneous agendas in these different nations, right? And that's the funny thing right there. I know that's the funny thing right there. Okay. But once again, like I said, this is the wine of Babylon the Great we're always talking about. This is what we're talking about when you say that, oh, America, the world has been um that America, that right, the US, Babylon the Great has the greatest influence, on this world. And let me just get another precept, right? Because that should be the book of not Isaiah. I think that's Jeremiah 51. So this is the book of Jeremiah 51 verse 7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of our wine, therefore the nations are mad, right? And this is an example, okay? An example of some of the wine that Babylon the Great is sending and giving to all nations, right? And this is the kind of dealings that America, Babylon the Great makes with all nations, right? Like I said, Babylon's export is not goods or resources, but rather its ideologies to other parts of the world. And that's why you're seeing this example, right, in the form of the money that was discovered to be being sent to different parts of the world to promote these different ideologies, via US aid. And it's also exposing the corruption, okay? The corruption. I know me as someone that lives here in Nigeria, man, this one is really something that I've always been um very I always be very suspect about, especially when it comes to Babylon the Great. They will say that, oh, one of the most corrupt countries in the world, and yet America, Babylon the Great is never number one, right? But these dealings with US aid and how the US is spending taxpayer money, and even going into the military budget as well, you find that there's also extortion going on with the military budget. And what that proves is the high levels of corruption that goes on in Babylon the Great that is never exposed. Okay, but let me close out with this precept, and just wanted to bring this out real quick. But yeah, this is what this, or rather I should say, this is the wine that America, Babylon the Great pushes all over the earth. Okay, so let me just get the main points I wanted to get. Now, let me see. I've forgotten it. I feel I wanted to bring it out. Here it is. Revelation 18 verse 9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Right. All the nations that had, relations, tight relations with Babylon the Great and benefited off America, Babylon the Great. Like, take for example the state of Israel, which of course, in that day the state of Israel will be destroyed right along with America, Babylon the Great. But you have so many other nations that are close with America, Babylon the Great, and has, many dealings with America, Babylon the Great, like a lot of these European nations. Okay, a lot of these Middle Eastern nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, mainly due to business dealings, right? But we also know that, even low key, Babylon is also pushing some of those ideologies in those nations as well. Because you are seeing more and more that these nations are becoming more, if you want to say, Americanized, or but rather in the proper term, they are, taking more of that Babylon juice. Okay, the drinking the wine and the ideology, the philosophies of Babylon the Great. And I also forgot to mention that when I say the wine of Babylon the Great, I mean the ideologies, the philosophies, the ways and the practices that are involved, that America, Babylon the Great is involved in. And that's what I'm referring to when I say wine. What, the ideologies that it promotes. And the major ideology that America, Babylon the Great promotes is the alternative lifestyles. I'm just going to say LGB, okay, because ISA right now, they are taking down videos based on hate speech, right? So you can't really use the exact terminologies. In fact, there are so many words that you can't even use anymore on the YouTube. but that's mainly for the bigger YouTubers that are trying to get money from it, right? So our tongue is not exactly censored all the way, right? But there are still some things you can't say. Where this is an example of that. You have a lot of nations that are benefiting directly from taking in or adopting the doctrines and philosophies of America, Babylon the Great. Japan, for example, right? You heard about what happened when US cut steel, cut the import, right, of steel from Japan. South Korea as well, right? The aid that these countries get from America, Babylon the Great, to keep their country running, in the form of trade, right? And even the military bases that they have built in those nations, because both South Korea and Japan have US military bases in them. But yeah, there are a lot of nations that are dependent on that foreign aid and foreign policy from America, Babylon the Great. And those nations, man, once the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai destroys them, and not just nations, but also we are not just nations, but also let's keep reading, and let's see that part. Revelation 18 verse 10. Standing afar off for the fear of our torment, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come, right? Because the nuclear missile and the destruction of Babylon the Great will be all done in 1 hour. It's a duration of 1 hour. So now Revelation 18 verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Right. And that is another, like I said, outside of the nations, you also have these merchants, okay, which are basically just entrepreneurs, traders, businessmen that are basically shipping goods to America, Babylon the Great. Like case in point, a lot of these companies that are, using China for their labor, right? Not just China, but you also have other Asian countries, that like Vietnam, that they have all these companies that assemble and build things in over there, and then ship it to America, Babylon the Great. You also have different companies that in which these kind of practices are done through. So yeah, basically, when the destruction comes, you will see many nations and many people just wailing and mourning because of the great destruction that will come upon America, Babylon the Great, right? And that is just because, like the scripture said, right? Not like I said, but like the scriptures are said, for all these nations, right? For all nations have drunken of the wine of our fornication, okay? And let's not forget that it will be those same, it will be those same nations that will fire missiles on Babylon the Great to destroy it. And you see that happening right now with that the US is losing favor with a lot of its allies due to some of Trump's more insane claims, right? But yeah, so with that, let me just end the video right there. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakal Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal, Shalom.